Yo, what's going on, everybody? Shit, I forgot. Welcome back, everybody. Now that we're in October, it's time to get into some more seasonal appropriate content, and I thought, what better way to do that than to cover probably my favorite horror franchise, Scream. I think it's pretty safe to say at this point that Scream's probably the most consistent horror franchise, at least long-running horror franchise. Everything about it has pretty much become iconic. The kills, the killer, the lore, everything about it, characters. It's also become the groundwork for a lot of modern day slashers. Obviously, Scream's pretty big and important to the genre. So for the month of October, every week we're going to be covering one Scream movie. The last week we're going to be covering two because it's only 5 weeks. We got a 5-week October, which is kind of perfect. If only we had 6, but we don't. So the last video of the week, or the last video of the month, is going to be a two-parter. It's going to be Scream 5 and 6, not 2 parts, but 2 parts together. Probably at the end I'll combine all these and make one big long Scream review, but I'm going to be going through all the movies 1 through 6. Not the show. I haven't watched the TV show, the MTV show, but I do want to watch that eventually, so maybe if I ever do watch it, I'll put that on the channel, or I'll talk about that on the channel. But as of right now, for this month, we're just going to be covering the main movies. Kind of in preparation. Scream 7's coming out in February, I believe. Besides the elephant in the room with that movie, all the spyglass shit. Besides that, I'm excited for it. I love Scream. I'm a Scream fan. It sucks that we're not going to get to see Sam and Tara's story wrapped up, and it sucks that the producers are kind of shitheads. I'm just gonna put my faith in Kevin Williamson and Neve Campbell, and hope that we're getting another good Scream movie. So I'm recording this before I watch any of the movies. It's been a couple years since I watched them, so I kind of want to give you my list, kind of like I did in the Demon Slayer video, just tell you how I rank the movies before we watch them, and once I'm done watching them, I'll re-rank them and give you my thoughts then. The order I wrote down is Scream 1, Scream 5, Scream 2, Scream 6, Scream 4, and then Scream 3. Scream 3 is my least favorite. Scream 1's obviously my most favorite. I have my complaints with the ones that are lower on the list, but I'll go through that when I get to those movies. I do want to say, though, before I do any of this, I like all of them. Even the ones that are low on the list, I like a lot. But obviously, if you're ranking them, something's got to be last. So obviously I don't want to say too much. I'm about to talk about all of them this month, but there's going to be some bias in this. I do really like the movies, so if you don't like the Scream movies and you want to see me bashing on them, then you're not in the right place. Honestly, I don't know why you're watching this video. With all that intro stuff being out of the way, go ahead and sharpen your knives and grab your voice changer, and we're going to hop right into Scream 1. Let's get it. Let's go. I don't know how to get in the movie. Let's just watch the movie, I guess. So the first 3 Scream movies all got taken off streaming for some reason. I don't know why. The 5th and 6th ones are still up there on Paramount. Shit, the 4th one's even on fucking Tubi. But on the website, my local Walmart said they had a 3-pack, so I decided to go up there and check it out. Yeah, they didn't have a 3-pack. They didn't have shit, so I had to decide to order it from the website, and yeah, you see how that goes. Wasn't going to be here in time, so thanks to the power of next day Amazon shipping. Let's start off with the first Scream. Scream 1, directed by Wes Craven, written by Kevin Williamson, starring Neve Campbell, Skeet Ulrich, Matthew Lillard, Jamie Kennedy, and Ghostface himself, Roger L. Jackson, the GOAT. Fucking Mojo Jojo, damn it. Last but not least, Drew Barrymore, who was plastered all over the marketing for this movie. She's on the poster. She is the face of the first Scream movie, basically. Drew Barrymore playing Casey Becker, the first kill in the franchise. I guess not technically the first kill. R.I.P. Steve.
Yes. That old.
We open up. We're in Casey Becker's house. She's making some popcorn. She gets a call from Ghostface. You know when you're flirting with the girl and then you threaten to gut her like a fish.
Listen, asshole. No, you listen, you little bitch. You hang up on me again, I'll gut you like a fish. Understand?
She freaks out. I just want to mention, Drew Barrymore in the scene does like a phenomenal job of making me feel scared for her, because one, her or I guess her house is like prime time for Ghostface, because I don't think I saw a solid wall in that house. It was nothing but windows, and that's not where you want to be in a horror movie. Drew Barrymore is so good in this because you can feel this the real fear in her voice. Those phone calls give me anxiety. Just hearing the ringing, it's always so much. It's always so loud in the mix.
I'm calling the police.
The copy I was watching, I guess let me say it now. It's a shitty copy. Like, it's the 3-in-1 DVD. It's not even a Blu-ray because I'm broke. I don't want to buy the Blu-ray. I just wanted to watch it. And it's stretched out. The sound mixing isn't great, but I think that might just be my TV. I can never hear movies very well. Like, I have to constantly adjust the volume from dialogue to other stuff, and that's kind of how it was with this. She sees her boyfriend Steve trapped outside. I guess he said the famous line earlier with the what's your favorite scary movie. So yeah, he said the iconic line a while ago. I'm just a little late to the party, but
What's your favorite scary movie?
I don't know.
Steve gets sliced and diced and his guts are everywhere and there's blood everywhere. She gets out, she has a knife, and she sees her parents getting home, and my only thought is, damn, she's got a lot of driveway left. Parents are going so slow up that driveway, and it's like this long path, and even when they do get there, they can't do nothing about it. Casey can't talk. She's getting stabbed in the gut. She's getting strangled. Like, she's not in a state to talk. She did take Ghostface's mask off, which, if we're assuming, spoiler alert, I'm going to say the killers because I'm going to kind of have to talk about it like I know they're the killers because I've seen the movie. It's kind of disingenuous to talk about it otherwise. So spoiler alert, if you don't want to know the killer, I mean, you just want to know what I think of the movie, I think it's good. You should watch it and then come back and watch the rest of this video. If you still somehow have not seen a damn near 30-year-old movie at this point, and you can avoid, like, if you've avoided who the killers are in these Scream movies for as long as you have, please watch them, and like watch them blind. Don't watch them knowing who the killers are. Like, it just doesn't, it won't hit the same. I'm assuming this is Stu in that point, just because it seems more personal, and I feel like Billy's the one on the phone doing the, like, I feel like most of the Ghostface kills are Stu. Obviously there are some with Billy, but like, you can kind of tell when it's Stu and when it's Billy. Stu's very like aggressive, and I just his comment later about gutting, I'm just assuming it was him that did all the legwork, and then Billy was the cause. So I'm assuming she saw Stu when she took that mask off. We find out later that she dumped Stu for Steve, so she was kind of moaning and groaning. So maybe she could have got his voice, or like got on the phone and been like, hey, that's Stu's doing it. Or poor parents that have to go out and see that she's just hung up from a tree, straight up guts all over the place. That's everything I really want to say about the opening scene. R.I.P. Casey Becker. It really makes you feel the fear. It really puts some anxiety in you, constantly looking. Like, the house layout, like I mentioned earlier, is all windows, but it just adds to the anxiety of, like, especially when you know Ghostface is stalking. On like a second watch, you know Ghostface is stalking, and he could be in any of those windows. He could literally be in any of those windows at any point. There's even a point where they cut outside and you could see the swing is like it was moving, like someone was sitting there. I don't know necessarily if someone was sitting there, but it could have been wind. But just the little hints of unknown. It feels very isolated. The long driveway feels isolated. It's a very effective scene, and effective in making you feel the same feeling as Casey in that moment. Obviously, you're not getting killed, but you're feeling her fear. Next part is where we meet Sidney Prescott, Billy Loomis, the two, I guess, leads, kind of. Obviously, the final girl, and then the eventual killer, but the boyfriend, we don't know this killer yet. He sure gives off killer vibes. He's weird. I don't want to say he's a full-on dick yet, because in this scene he's kind of like iffy with it. Like, he mentions The Exorcist and like the made-for-TV-ness of their relationship. That's kind of a dickhead thing to say, especially when you know her mom died like a year ago and she just has like intimacy issues. Like, not much to say about this scene. Some stuff we see, like the way she locks the door from her father so that he can't get in there, that comes back later. Other than that, it's really just kind of an intro to their relationship and how they talk to each other, how they interact. That's it for that scene. Next part is the first school scene. This is when Tatum is introduced. You meet Tatum, Sydney's best friend. She's just talking about Casey Becker. Casey Becker sat next to Sydney in school, or in class. They mentioned something happening to, like, Tatum says it's the worst thing to happen since, and it's kind of like inferred it is something related to Sydney. We get to that later. Another thing I want to mention in this scene, this is where we meet Dewey for the first time, and like Deputy Dewey, that's how he introduces himself. I'm going to talk about him a lot later. He's like probably my favorite character. I feel like David Arquette's just like that. Like, yeah, he's a little weird and he plays it up for the movie, but I think David Arquette is just like that. Just a charming, I don't want to say idiot, because he's not an idiot. He's kind of smart, but it's like just a charming airhead, I guess, maybe. There's just a lot of funny lines in this movie that I'm gonna play at some point. I'm not gonna say it yet. I'm gonna get to that. Dewey's Tatum's brother, so that's how Sydney, Tatum, Dewey know each other. We get an introduction to Principal Hembry, the other sheriff, and then Dewey. Next part is, it's not the scene, but it's one of the most well-known scenes. It's the water fountain scene, when it's Billy, Sydney, Tatum, Stu, and Randy. They're just sitting out there talking about the killings, whatever. We get some weird lines. Like, this is where like you start picking up on Stu a little bit. He mentions like he knows how to gut something.
You take a knife and you slit him from groin to sternum. Hey, it's called tact, you fuck rag.
So he's sus. Also has a connection to Casey. So very sus, actually. Stu Macher is the first suspect on the list. Randy has some lines. Randy's the movie nerd. He's he works at a video store. He's just a nerd, but he's the one that's like, we all could be suspects. Like,
did you really put her liver in the mailbox? Because I heard that they found her liver in the mailbox next to her spleen and her pancreas.
Every scene in this movie that Matthew Lillard is in, he's the best character in the scene. He's definitely crazy, but like, he tries his best to hide it. And Matthew Lillard was my Shaggy growing up. Like, I grew up on those original James Gunn movies, live action Scoobies, and Matthew Lillard was my Shaggy. So watching this after that, like, I grew up with him as Shaggy. It's weird to see him as like a killer, but they kind of just make Sydney uncomfortable.
Leave her alone.
Next scene is in my notes listed as Sid vs. Ghostface, Sid vs. Ghostface V1, because it's the first Sid vs. Ghostface. Sydney's at home by herself. Her dad's out of town. Forgot to mention that. Yeah, her dad went out of town. So she's home alone, and she's supposed to have Tatum come over to like stay the night with her, so she's not alone, because obviously we don't know that these are connected. Like the Casey murders and her mom. We found out her mom, I guess, or we find out that it's her mom. We don't know if those are connected, but she's just trying to be cautious, because obviously you don't want to be alone when there's a psycho killer on the loose. She's watching the TV. It's all over the TV, the Casey Becker stuff. And this is where we find out about her mom, Maureen Prescott, being... That's when we know, like, okay, that's why she's kind of uncomfortable with the situation, and why they kind of tiptoe around it. They do this thing with the closet jump scare, where it's not a jump scare, but they, like, put the riser in there, and it's supposed to tease a jump scare. Sydney, she ends up falling asleep. Tatum doesn't ever end up coming because I don't fucking know, just being Tatum. Sydney gets her first Ghostface call, and we see Sydney being a badass for the first time. Like, she's one of the best final girls, and like, she just immediately calls Ghostface bluff. Like, she's a little shook at first, obviously, as you would be, but once she gets like once she gets her feet grounded, dude, she goes outside. She's just standing out there waiting. But then we kind of learn that like he's actually there. I thought he was kind of trolling, but no, he's there. And he actually comes out of the same closet that they faked the jump scare. So at some point he got in the house, and it was kind of cool to see them use the jump scare that they kind of teased earlier. Sydney ends up using the same like method that she uses to block the door for her dad, to block Ghostface, and she gets some good kicks in on him and stuff. But anyway, she ends up like going to the computer and typing, like texting 911, which I don't know if that was a thing in the 90s, but if it was, good for her to know how to do that. Obviously the cords, the phone lines they're not gonna work, but although I guess she just didn't have a phone. I don't know why I thought the phone lines didn't work. The phone lines work because Ghostface called. Ghostface goes away, and like as soon as Ghostface goes away, Billy pops up in the window. Again, sus as fuck. This is where like we start getting some hints. It might actually be Billy. He comes in the window, drops a cell phone, which is like, I guess not normal for that time. At least the ones like, because you'd be assuming that whoever's calling with Ghostface or as Ghostface doesn't have one of the big ass chunky, like, because they have the chunky phones that you can walk around with, but they're big. They're not going to be like, you can't hide that in a Ghostface costume. So the phone like falls out of his pocket, and it's a mobile phone, like it's a little like a actual mobile phone, one of the first ones. And ooh, she gets sussed out, and then she ends up going down the stairs, and like the cops had come because of her 911 call. So Dewey's there after Sydney gets attacked. She's at the she's in the ambulance, whatever. Dewey has a line where he's like, Tatum's like, yeah, no, she's home alone, she's gonna stay with us. And Dewey's like, does mom know? I just felt like, as a brother, I felt that in my soul. We meet Gail Weathers for the first time. We saw her on the TV earlier, but like this is the first time we meet her in person. I'm trying to interview Sydney, basically. We also get to meet my goat Kenny. Kenny is the cameraman for Gail, who gets like verbally abused. Gail calls him a fat ass a couple times.
Look, Kenny.
Yeah?
I know that you're about 50 pounds overweight, but when I say hurry, please interpret that as move your fat tub of lard ass now!
But he has some good lines. Yeah, they don't like Gail though. We find out later why they don't like Gail, but for now, we're just gonna go off the fact she's a reporter, and nobody likes reporters.
Can you tell me anything?
Yeah, you're a real pain in the ass. Leave me alone.
They arrest Billy, take him to the station, like, yo, you got a phone. We're gonna have to trace those calls. You're gonna have to stay here until make sure you weren't the one making the calls, which makes sense. Cool. Billy's kind of like trying to get Sid to get him out of it, and he's mean mug, like he mean mugs the fuck out of Sydney.
26,
We see Gail pull up to the police station. Kenny gets another good line off. Kenny called her a bitch goddess, which funny. But
We're not letting anybody in.
I'm not just anyone.
Bitch, goddess.
they're waiting for Sid to come outside, and Dewey has some more funny lines. Tatum treats him like a sister would treat a brother, even if like he is a cop. Doesn't matter to her.
God damn it, Dewey.
What did Mama tell you? When I wear this badge, you treat me like a man of the law.
He says it like he's about to cry, dude. They end up going outside, and like they go out the back entrance or exit so that, you know, obviously Sydney's not like getting swarmed. But Gail and them end up finding them on the side. We find out the reason that they don't like Gail is because Gail's writing a book on Sydney's mom's murder, because she believes, I guess we don't find this out till a little bit later, but she believes basically that the guy that they got for her mom's murder is not the guy that did it, and that Cotton Weary, the guy that did do it, or that's in jail for it right now, who just got sentenced to like life or whatever, is innocent, and he got framed, which we find out later is true. But for now, Gail's the bad guy in the story. So Sydney kind of like plays along with her for a little bit, but as soon as Gail's like, I'll send you a copy of the book, Sydney just clocks her shit, which honestly was probably deserved.
So, how's the book? Well, it'll be out later this year. Oh, I'll look for it. I'll send you a copy.
They go back to the school. We get a third Gail Weathers appearance. She's at the school and she's icing her face because she got clocked, so she's kind of shitty. But Sydney comes up and is trying to talk to her, basically like, hey, she's starting to change her mind on the fact that maybe like the Ghostface stuff is related to her mom, because her going after Sydney, or him going after the Ghostface going after Sydney, and Gail can even tell that she's starting to change her mind, so she's trying to get like a, you know, trying to get a little scoop, and she thinks that Sydney believes that Cotton might be the wrong guy. The reason that they believe this Cotton is because Sydney saw a guy coming out of Sydney's mom's apartment with a bloody jacket on, and it was planted in Cotton's car. So obviously that's pretty good evidence against you if that's found in your car, a bloody jacket, and the daughter sees you walking out. You know, we didn't actually see, I guess she didn't actually see Cotton walking out in it. She saw somebody walking out in it, and then that ended up in Cotton's car. It's left up in the air if Cotton actually did it. Obviously we know now that he doesn't do it, or he didn't do it, so he ends up becoming like a bigger character. I think he's in like the next two. Courtney Cox is fine as fuck, as always, especially in the Scream movies. Besides that fuck ass haircut she got in the third one, I can't hate when Gail Weathers is on screen, even if she's being an asshole. So throughout the school, it's just a bunch of people being assholes. Like, you would think, like, if I even if like I was a complete asshole, I feel like if I went to school and like my classmates were getting murdered, and then another one of my classmates whose mom was murdered the year before almost gets murdered, I feel like I'd have a little more empathy than running around the halls in a Ghostface costume. I can't speak for everybody, but I can speak for sane people. Billy, yeah, he's full on a dick now, like full on.
Haven't seen Billy around. Is he really pissed?
Oh, you mean after you branded him the Candyman? No, his heart's broken. Ow.
Stu!
He straight up tells Sydney, hey, it's been a year since your mom died. You should get over it, because I want to fuck. You're going to need to get over your mom dying and being raped and brutally murdered because I want to fuck.
Sid.
I am sorry if my traumatized life is an inconvenience to you and your perfect existence.
What? So yeah, he's a dick. That's all I can say about him. I have in my notes Sid run crying emoji, but I don't know if
Nobody said that. Sid!
Principal Hembry is ridiculing these kids that were in Ghostface costumes. Like, he's basically going off on them, saying, hey, you're little shits, you shouldn't be doing that. Have some sympathy for your classmates or whatever. He kind of goes overboard. Like, he's holding the mask and he's like, you know, damn near threatening these like kids. He basically says, hey, if I could, I'd rip your guts out. Not something you want to say to your students, I guess. I mean, they're not your students anymore. You expelled them, so I guess you can say whatever the fuck you want. It seems like everybody in this school is just an asshole. Cindy goes to the bathroom, and there's these girls in there that are just talking shit, like saying that she might be doing it. She might have snapped. She's a slut, just like her mom. What the fuck are we talking about, dude? This is your classmate. Like, they almost just got murdered last night. There's a Ghostface in the bathroom that like chases her out. I don't know if it's a real Ghostface or not. We see the boots, but like, I mean, it could have been anybody. I didn't see a knife, so I don't know if it was actually Ghostface. Dewey's out front of, like, the school, keeping, like, just people out. And I guess Gail comes up, and Gail's trying to sweet talk her way in. He folds, like, almost immediately. He tries to keep, like, a straight sergeant face for about 15 seconds, and then he gives up, and he's just like, yep, Courtney Cox. I'd do the same thing. I can't even blame him. Classes get canceled because obviously Sydney was attacked, and she was attacked in school too. Let's just cut that shit out. Curfew, 9 p.m. set across the town, and nothing screams, let's throw a fucking big party like a psychopathic murderer running around your town. Let's get these teens are the targets at this point. Let's get these teens all in one, like, isolated house in the middle of fucking nowhere. All the houses in Woodsboro are like either fucking huge or in the middle of nowhere. I guess Woodsboro is just a big ass town, but yeah. So Stu is throwing a party at his place for the curfew, or after curfew, I guess, or maybe before, I don't know, but he's throwing a party at his place, which sounds like a trap, and it is a trap, damn it. Then it cuts back. Principal Hembry is in his office by himself. He has the Ghostface mask. He's fucking with it, you know, doing whatever, and basically he ends up getting killed. He's like, they're knocking on the door. He's looking out there. Nobody's out there. Knocks on the door again. He goes out there. There's a Wes Craven cameo. He's dressed up as Freddy Krueger as the janitor. Shout out Wes Craven. Principal Hembry eats shit. He gets snuck up on, stabbed a bunch of times. There's a shot of Ghostface in, like, it's a close up on Hembry's eye, and you can see Ghostface like coming in, and it's like in his reflection of his eye. Dope ass shot. Then we kind of get some backstory on Sydney's mom and how, like, maybe her mom was sleeping around a bit. Like, Sydney kind of believes, you know, no, my mom wouldn't sleep with Cotton, wouldn't do none of that. But I guess there's rumors about Sydney's mom sleeping with a bunch of other dudes anyways, and Tatum kind of talks about that. But other than that, in that scene, is really just Sydney kind of getting a little disappointed that Tatum believes those rumors. But I think they're not necessarily rumors. They're kind of true. Unfortunately, this is when, like, Sydney really starts flipping on maybe Cotton didn't do it. And also Ghostface is just walking around in broad daylight in this scene. He's outside, like, creeping in bushes and shit, full costume, broad daylight. I don't know how he got away with that. Someone would see that. Someone would see him. Well, I guess no, because all the houses are in the middle of fucking nowhere, so it doesn't matter. Next scene we get is at the movie store, the video store where Randy works. Basically, Randy and Stu were just talking about like Billy is definitely the killer here, right? Like, he's definitely sus as fuck. Stu's kind of sticking up for him, like, hey, they let him out of jail. If they let him out of jail, he obviously didn't do it. Which is, no, that's not how that works. Randy asks him, like, hey, if Billy goes to jail, if Billy really is a psycho killer, do you think Sidney would be with me? And Stu gives him, like, the meanest, like, Stu just loses it.
Now that Billy tried to mutilate her, do you think Sid would go out with me?
No, I don't at all.
But yeah, Randy's real sus of Billy, which who isn't at this point? Billy's in there as well, like in the horror section. That's kind of what Randy was saying, like, hey, why is he in the horror section? He's a suspect in murder. Valid point, I guess. Billy pulls up on Randy. It's kind of like, hey, how do we know you didn't do it? And Randy stands on business. Randy's like, hey, we know if this is a scary movie, I'd be the primary suspect. I'm the one that knows all about scary movies, you know?
You're telling me that's not a killer?
Wait a minute, did I skip something? I'm gonna put in like I'm gonna do a crazy wave, like something like this. So there's a scene that I forgot at Tatum's house where this is after she punches Gail. Put in that line at Tatum, like, Ghostface like calls Sidney again while they're at Tatum's house, and this is while Billy's locked up. So Billy's like kind of exonerated, like, hey, it's not Billy. We're getting called even when Billy's locked up. So yeah, they get Dewey. Dewey's strapped. Anyways, okay, done now. You can go back to the rest of this shit. The cop is talking, or the sheriff is talking to Dewey, and Dewey's like, do you think you did it? And the sheriff's like, nah, man, I think we got a bigger problem, because those phone calls to Sid from the night that she got attacked trace back to Neil Prescott's phone, who I didn't mention his name earlier, but Neil Prescott is Sidney's dad, who's supposed to be on a business trip. And basically this is kind of saying, okay, we have reason to believe that Neil Prescott might be the one doing this stuff. Tomorrow's the 1-year anniversary of his wife's brutal murder. Maybe he goes crazy and he's gonna kill everybody. So makes sense, honestly. There's a shot though where, like, he puts out a cigarette, the sheriff puts out a cigarette on the ground, and he like stomps on it, and it zooms in on his boots, and the boots look real suspicious, like the boots look real familiar. But then I also don't think I think that's just a red herring. Obviously it wasn't supposed to be like a really believe it was him, because it's the only hint you get, and his big ass is not running around like Ghostface. Now we're into the final battle here. We're going to talk about the party scene, the biggest scene. This is like a 50-minute scene at this point. Like, it starts at, like, I put when it starts at an hour and a minute in, and the movie's like an hour 55. Anyways, we're back. We're at Stu's house now. This is a big ass party, big ass trap is what this is. Like, holy shit. Dewey's there. I guess he's supervising the party because he knows what's going on, but, like, you're a cop in this town where there's a killer on the loose. Real irresponsible of a cop to do. Gail's at the party. First of all, it's weird that Gail's at a party full of teenagers. That's besides the point. What's even weirder is her trying to put a hidden camera in a party full of teenagers. That's criminal. Dewey doesn't know about that, obviously. She talks to Dewey a little bit, and, like, Dewey cannot help himself. He folds for Gail so fast. Like, she accompanies him in, puts in the camera, whatever. Boom. Obviously they're not fans of Gail being there because it's Gail.
What is she doing here?
She's with me.
They send Tatum down to the garage to get some beers, right? First of all, your first mistake is going anywhere alone when there's a killer on the loose. I don't care if it's in the house or not. You're going anywhere alone. I'm good off that. Like, I'm so okay. I don't think Billy was supposed to be at this party originally. They ended up inviting Billy, so he shows up later, but knowing that Billy's a suspect and he's friends with Stu, I wouldn't be going anywhere alone in that house. Anyways, she goes to get some beers. Lo and behold, she goes back, the door is locked, and then boom, Ghostface is there. He closes the door.
No, please don't kill me, Mr. Ghostface. I want to be in the sequel.
She tries to go out the garage door, doesn't work. She puts up a fight, though. I'll say she does put up a fight. She's kind of taunting him at first, but once he locks and he shows her the knife, she starts, like, running. She runs, she gets thrown back, she hits him with a fridge, cool. She throws some bottles at him. Like, Ghostface is low-key getting his ass beat in the scene. But then Tatum's dumbass tries to fit through like a cat hole in the door, and then she gets stuck. So then Ghostface raises the garage door, which I don't know the logistics on that. I don't know how strong garage doors are. I don't think they're that strong. She gets, I think in my notes I just put fucking shit. She puts up a fight. It's gnarly. I don't know how realistic it is, but it's cool. It's just crazy that that's how she dies. Of all the not a knife stab, not getting fucking strangled. It's you die in a cat door on a garage door. Right after Tatum dies, Billy shows up. Like, I'm talking immediately. This is when everybody's kind of leaving. Like, they're letting a lot of older people, like, not older people, but they're letting a lot of, like, the people that are going home for curfew, stuff like that. There's a couple people leaving. This is where I started, like, I guess I would be sus of Stu for real, because
Tatum, come on! Nobody here but us, chicken! There she is.
No, I haven't seen her.
he's the one that sent her to get beer, and he would know, hey, she brings up Tatum. I haven't seen Tatum since I sent her to get beer. That's weird. So, yeah, I'm sus of him, but Billy shows up right after that. So, obviously, I think Billy was the one that killed Tatum, which kind of goes to my Stu's more aggressive. Billy didn't even stab her. He just cut her. Gail is a mega fucking creep for the camera, I'm not gonna lie. Basically, they go upstairs.
I'll tell you what, once you guys go up to my parents' room, you guys can talk. Whatever.
Subtlety, Stu. You should look it up.
Because Sid wants to talk to Billy. Sid's about to let him, like, Sid's basically like, yo, I think you're right. I might need to get over it. I shouldn't be fragile forever. Like, eventually, Sid and Billy end up getting it on. Cool, whatever.
What's Leatherface doing here?
Another big scene is coming up here. This is the scene in the living room, like, when they're all watching a horror movie. It's Stu, it's a bunch of girls, a bunch of dudes. Randy's there. Randy stands up and is like,
there are certain rules that one must abide by in order to successfully survive a horror movie. For instance,
the first rule is no sex. The second rule is no drinking or drugs. You can't do those. And the third rule is no saying I'll be right back, which I think is a valid one. I think all of them are valid, but as you'll see, Sydney's having sex, so that's breaking rule 1. All of them are drinking, Randy included. He's drinking. The no saying I'll be right back. Stu kind of jokingly is like,
I'll be right back.
So I guess they broke rule 3 too. Deputy Dewey is back on the scene, and he's like, hey, we're thinking Neil Prescott's car might be here. Let's go search. I gotta go walk. First of all, why are you walking alone at night when there's a killer on the loose? I'm good off that. I don't care if I have a gun or not. I'm good. And then you're taking Gail with you too. You go walking, and then it goes back into the house where they get a call. Randy gets a call saying that Principal Hembry was strung up on the goalpost, gutted everything. So whatever remaining kids were there, besides like the main cast, they all leave. So they all go to that. When they're leaving, they almost run Dewey and Gail over. I don't know why Dewey thought the words freeze were going to work on a car.
Freeze!
Dewey pushes Gail out the way. This is where Gooey, Gail, and Dewey's born. And they end up stumbling across Neil Prescott's car, which then Dewey's like, shit, he's here. Fuck, we're screwed. Oh my God, the kids are going to die. They run back up. They're going back up. We cut back up to after Sydney and Billy did their thing. They're talking, and Sid is kind of still sus of him. She mentions like, hey, who did you call with your one phone call when you got arrested? And he said his dad, which she knew, like, no, the sheriff called your dad. But I guess Billy said he didn't answer when I called him. Valid excuse, I guess. She's basically like, yeah, I just thought it would be a cool way to throw me off my tracks if you called me with your one phone call to know, like, hey, I'm in jail, whatever. I can't beat Ghostface. And this is when he's kind of like, you're still sus of me. Like, what do I need to do to prove to you that I'm not the killer? While he's saying that, while he still has the killer in his eyes, like a really bad killer in his eyes. But when this happens, we see Ghostface popping behind him, and Billy supposedly gets killed. It's not even like convincing that he gets stabbed. Like when Ghostface goes to wipe off the blade, he wipes the blood on. There's no blood on there. Like, it's very obvious if you know what you're looking for. I'm not saying it isn't like the movie did a bad job. It's literally like, I don't think I think it was intentional that it was supposed to be kind of amateurish, and like this was just supposed to get Billy out of it. Billy supposedly dies, heals over. Ghostface is chasing Sidney around the house. He's hitting some real fast corners and shit. Again, Ghostface gets shit rocked. He gets slammed into a door. He ends up chasing her around. She goes out this like attic window and falls on a boat, which is, first of all, real lucky that there was a boat there, but two, just shows she didn't give a fuck. She was just trying to get out of there. And I think it just goes to show how badass Sidney actually is as a final girl. When she falls out, she sees Tatum, because Tatum's like at the garage, and that's where she lands. So she sees Tatum, she freaks out, which is crazy. That's a insane way to find out your friend died. It goes over to Randy, like he's in the living room and still watching. He's watching Halloween, and when this is happening, you see Ghostface coming in. He's about to stab Randy, but then he hears Sidney screaming outside, and when Sidney's screaming outside, Ghostface averts his attention, right? He goes out running, and Sidney eventually gets over to the van, like the news van where Kenny's sitting. Gail's out still, but Kenny's sitting in the van watching the screen, and they're sitting there watching it. Like Sidney and him are watching it, like they're seeing the Randy, like him sneaking up on Randy, which is like shit. But then you remember earlier when they're setting up the camera, Kenny mentions there's a 30-second delay, so they're seeing this. But Sidney just screamed, so Ghostface isn't there anymore. Ghostface is leaving, but because of that delay, they're behind. So by the time they notice that he's leaving, Ghostface is there. He kills my boy Kenny. R.I.P. Kenny.
Jesus, the camera, hurry!
My name isn't Jesus.
Dewey ends up being Dewey. He goes in, he clears the house out. He hears some like moaning and stuff, but it's just on the TV. So he's good. He thinks he's good. And that's pretty much all we see of Dewey for a little bit. Gail gets back to the van. She realizes, hey, Kenny's not there. She gets in the van. She starts driving. There's blood all over the windshields, like blood windshield wipers of hell. She drives because obviously, like, you know, that's what she would do in that scenario. He falls over the windshield, so you see Kenny is dead. And then she drives away. She's about to hit Sidney, so then she like goes off the road, crashes into a tree. So that should be the end of Gail. Any other person would die. She's not dead, but in that moment, I guess we think she's dead. Dewey comes out of the house, and Sidney sees him and is like, oh shit, it's Dewey, cool. But then you see Dewey got a knife in his back, and he just heals over on the porch, and it's like, fuck, they killed Dewey. No, bro. We get the Ghostface wipe again. He wipes the blade off after pulling it out of Dewey. He comes out. This is where he starts chasing Sid. Chases her into like the police car, and she locks the door on him, but then he has the keys because it was Dewey's. So he ends up going in like through the back. She gets on the radio and is able to like call out to the police through the radio. Ghostface gets the upper hand on her, but she ends up getting out of that. She gets out of the car, and then like both Randy and Stu pop up, and they're both accusing each other. Yeah, because Randy at this point has been, I guess I forgot to mention, but yeah, Randy pulled up on the van when Gail was there, and Gail beat the shit out of him. So Randy's been fucked up. Stu's fucked up because he's been the one doing all this killing. I don't know the logistics of how he got out of that suit so fast, or how Billy was in the suit and then somehow made it back upstairs in time to fall down the stairs. I don't know. Stu's there, Randy's there. Sidney is like, fuck you both. I'm just gonna go in the house, because at that point I'm not giving up the gun to either of them, because she's like, Stu's like, hey, give me the gun, Sid. Randy's like, give me the gun, Sid. And there's not an instance in the world, dude, Santa Claus could be asking me for that gun, and I'm not giving it up to him. Nobody's getting that gun out of my hand. She has the right idea. She closes the door, locks it, and then all of a sudden, fucking Billy comes out. Billy stumbles down the stairs. He's all bloody, which the fall down the stairs just hilarious. There's no way he survived that shit. He's definitely the killer. There's no way he survived that shit. He falls down the stairs. Sid is helping him up, whatever. Like, Billy's like, Sid, trust me, give me the gun. Trust me, give me the gun. Sidney fucking gives him the gun. God damn. They let Randy in, and This is where we get the big reveal that it's Billy who's been the killer the whole time. Yeah, he shoots Randy. You know, the pig's blood from Carrie is all over him, corn syrup. Sid runs into Stu, so now we know Stu's the killer as well, which even if you don't, like, even if you pick up on one of the killers, like, even if you get them one of them right, a lot of people are not thinking there's two killers in this scenario, especially after Billy just revealed himself. But I guess you could have thought of that with, you know, the logistics, like, again. But if you think about it too hard, it's not, yeah, it's not gonna work. But Ghostface reveals himself as two people. They got the voice changer on him, and Matthew Lillard's eating up the scenery. Stu Macher's going nuts. They're revealing their whole plan. Basically, Billy and Stu were the ones that raped and murdered Cindy's mom, framed Cotton, and they did this because his mom left his dad because his dad cheated on his mom with Cindy's mom. So Billy blames this all on Cindy. Fucking nuts, by the way. Blames this all on Cindy and is basically like, yeah, you're gonna what we're gonna do is we have your dad in the closet. Your dad is gonna be the one this is all pinned on because he went psycho at the year anniversary of his wife's murder. And Billy and Stu are gonna kill Sydney, kill Neil, and it's gonna look like they were the survivors and left for dead, and Sydney was killed by her dad, who then killed himself. And that's when they start stabbing each other because they're like trying to make it look like they were actually, you know, in a fight. And this is where we kind of see like the cracks in their relationship. It seems like Stu's in love with Billy, but I think Billy is just kind of like using Stu in a way. Like, I'm sure he's friends with him, but like I think Billy's just using him for the muscle for a lot of this stuff. They start stabbing each other. They stab a little too deep. Stu is like spitting. He's creating a new pool in the kitchen.
Everybody dies but us. We're gonna carry on and plan the sequel, because let's face it, baby, these days you gotta have a sequel.
And they're telling her this plan. This is crazy because Billy's been planning this shit. Billy was with Sydney for a whole year just to do this. Like this, he's been planning this shit for a minute, and he's like, again, Sydney should have just went with her gut because obviously he's a fucking psycho. Like, killer is written in capital letters on his fucking forehead half the time. And honestly, if this was anybody but Sydney Prescott, they might have a good plan. This might have worked. But Sydney Prescott's a badass. She don't let that shit fly. She don't play none of that shit. So she gets to work. Gail comes in. She's holding a gun at Billy. Forgets to turn the safety off. So Billy just kicks her into a pole and knocks her out. I don't know how she got knocked out off of that. Back to Sydney. But at this point, Sydney's gone. They don't know where Sydney's at. Billy's losing his shit. Stu's like, they get a call on the phone, and it's Sydney taunting him and talking to Stu, and Billy's saying he's gonna rip her apart, whatever. You got to keep your eyes on Sydney Prescott. She got they ass. Talking to Stu on the phone, saying, you know, what's your motive? Like, I know Billy's motive. What's yours? He says peer pressure. Billy freaks out, like he's talking to her on the phone, freaks out, throws the phone, and hits Stu.
Fucking hit me with the phone, Dick!
Billy thinks he finds her. He's in the closet, or he goes to the closet, which we saw Dewey clear that out earlier, so it's kind of cool that it comes back. He hears in the closet, he opens it up, and out comes a Ghostface, jabs a fucking umbrella through his chest twice. It's Sydney in the Ghostface outfit. She's talking shit. This doesn't kill Billy, though. Billy gets back up. He gets on top of Sydney again, about to kill her, and Gail just lets that shit off into him. Couple shots.
Guess I remember the safety that time, you bastard.
Randy gets up. They get Neil Prescott out of there, or out of the tape and stuff. And then we get that final jump scare from Billy where Randy's like, you know, this is where the killer comes back to life for one last scare. And Sydney shoots him in the head. Thank God. At the end, we see Dewey. They're pulling everybody out. A lot of people are dead. I forgot to mention. Oh, shit. I forgot to mention that. Once Sydney gets Billy, Stu starts trying to fight her. She hits a little judo flip and then drops a TV on his head. So, yeah, Stu's probably dead, unless you ask the conspiracy theorists of Scream fandom, because some of them think he's not dead. And with Scream 7 coming up and him being confirmed, we don't know. But maybe he's not dead, so I don't know. I think dropping a TV on my face would kill me, but after everybody's dead, the cops are there. It's done. We see Dewey on a stretcher. He's giving the thumbs up, so he's good. I'm pretty sure I read somewhere where originally he was killed, like he was supposed to die, but people really like Dewey, so they gave him they shot him giving the thumbs up. So Dewey survives. We see Gail is giving her news section. Yeah, that's pretty much the end of it. The song that's over all the outro is like the song that's over the zoom out of Stu's house is really good. Other than that, man, just overall a really good movie. I'm excited to look at the second one next week. Scream 1, what do you think about it? Pretty good start. I think that's all, really. I appreciate you for watching this. Come back next week. We're gonna be looking at Scream 2. Same format, same everything. But other than that, man, I appreciate you watching this, taking the time. If you want to, go ahead and like, sub up. Yeah. See you next week, man. Peace.